Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Yeah, we're live. Da 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 da. Sorry, I recently watched Sing a Bit of Harmony, so I got that song in my head. Is everyone happy? Shiawase? So, thank you all for joining us. Welcome to OreAni 2022 Spring Lineup. I guess I should have worded that spring season lineup instead of spring lineup season.
Someone's dyslexic.
I got my words mixed up. Yeah. So, welcome everyone to joining us on this wonderful, wonderful first day of May, right?
Yep.
Happy May.
So, we kind of delayed the titles because the releases were kind of awkward for the season. There's some shows that are already up to like episode 4, maybe 5.
Not 5, yeah.
And then there's some shows that only have 2 episodes out. So it's been really weird. So trying to get this worked out. Plus, there's just so many shows this season. It's kind of crazy. But as always, we have our wonderful friends. We got Jessica.
Hello there.
We got the baseball Vinnie.
Hello.
We got the super smart isekai Albert. And we got Neo from Down Under.
How's it going?
So thank you for joining us, Neo. This is your second time with us, right? So
I believe so, yes.
this is gonna be fun. So I don't have those fancy schmancy title cards, but so we're gonna use the poster images that I can find. But I hope everyone likes this nice spring backdrop we got going on. It's drawn to it for us by our great what do you call him, artist Onzzy. So Onzzy made this for us. He even added some teru bozos of our characters here, and he added his character too. Vinny told me that I shouldn't have done it because that's more of a summer thing, but I was like, I see a lot of rain in spring, so I don't want rain in spring.
Well, I'm sure West Coast could use some of those rain, so why not?
Actually, it was still snowing when I came down here to Oregon.
Huh.
I came down here to attend the what do you call that, SakuraCon convention.
Nice.
So that was pretty fun. We got to see a lot of people trying to cosplay shows for this season already, and some from last season. That was fun. But let's go ahead and start this discussion. Let me see, what do we have here? What's first? Oh, I should turn off the welcome sign, huh? Boom. So we got Aharensan wa Hakaranai. Right? Based off of a manga. This is one of the shows I think that actually released way ahead of time, so I think there's like 5 episodes of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like quite a few of us are watching it. Albert, you probably dropped it.
Dropped it.
Neo and Vinny are watching it. I think I might drop it myself, as there's a lot of other shows that are kind of way better right now that I can watch, but I'm not going to say it's bad. It's somewhat amusing, but just better shows going on right now. Of course, it's your high school comedy, but with the male protagonist, which I don't see it, but supposedly he's supposed to be this guy that has like the what do you call those, the evil eyes, or the eyes that look really sharp, that make everyone kind of afraid of them.
Mm.
Think like Zoro from One Piece. You know how he has those. What do they call it? Zanpaku eyes or something like that weird.
I don't know the term, but it's normally seen as stern.
Yeah, so people tend to be afraid of him, so he's always typically alone. And then you got Aheren, which the title's named after, is this small little girl that has a very quiet voice, and due to that voice, she gets really close to people, which kind of freaks people out because it's too close for comfort. But these two being seatmates and trying to become friends, in a sense, it's just the daily activities of each other, learning about each other, and trying to learn more about how to interact with others, as they've typically failed within their school life, right? So, do you think this is a show you're going to keep on watching, Vinny, or?
I'm on the fence about it. I mean, I read the manga, and it's amusing in itself. Problem is that it's pretty one-trick pony in itself. That it doesn't add too much later on. So if you kind of like those simplistic comedy, high school comedy, then you might want to keep on watching it. But there's really not much development to really warrant to stick around if you're on the fence about it. So I'm a bit torn.
What about you, Neo?
So I've seen the first 3 episodes, and it's not entirely bad. I wouldn't say it's the worst, but I feel like it doesn't have quite an impact to make you want to watch it even more. So I'd have to say I'm most likely going to drop it myself.
Are you going to make Aharensan sad, you guys?
Yeah, it's just kind of unfortunate. It's, I think, a very mediocre adaptation of a, the manga is funny because you can read it at your own pace, but when you're stuck with an anime, you have to follow the pacing of the anime, and it just doesn't quite hit it. The interesting thing about this title, it's by the same manga author, Mizu Asato, who did Denkigai no Honyasan, more than 6-7 years ago. So, but apparently the readership is pretty strong manga-wise for this. And they got some good voice actors, but I just don't think a lot of the material is good. There's also some problems with, it's set in a certain time period, so they'll have things that they talk about, certain popular music or gadgets, like fidget spinners that show up, right? And it's very of the time, so it feels dated already. Getting some static, maybe from Hank. Yeah, it's from your line again. And this is also the production company, has not done a full title of their own. They did contributions to like Urasekai Picnic from 2021 last year. But the film, the anime itself is backed by the Chinese company Birdie. So, that's an interesting change where overseas companies are backing anime projects in Japan. Whether that's good or bad for the industry, I don't know yet. As we've seen with the Netflix cancellation, implosion and cancellation, so who knows what will happen in the future. But it's just kind of unfortunate that this is their vehicle. I just didn't find it as funny as the manga. So that's my view on it.
All right. So sad for Aheren here, but it looks like she's not going to make it this season. So next up, I got here is Birdie Wing, Golf Girl's Story. And I believe, Albert, you're the only one watching this. I was kind of hesitant to pick it up, so I'm kind of wondering what this really is about.
Yeah, so it's about girls and golf, except that's just the backstage. Basically, the main character Eve is a golf hustler, right? And this is the world where there's an underground golf that goes on where people bet money, huge monies. There are spontaneous or illegal courses, and she claims she's not playing golf. She's just a girl that hits balls for money. So that by itself is kind of funny. And they're trying to. It's more about the drama around it, and so when she meets this other golfer who is a prim and proper Japanese golf lady, actually a young protege, Aoi, it starts to change her view of what golf is. So I can't fully recommend this series. But if you wanted something that's a little different, it's not a sports anime. It's not set in high school. It is. It's kind of a. There are portions of the series where they depict the world, and it's not very nice. I don't know where it's supposed to be set. I kind of feel like maybe America, but at the same time, I kind of feel like the architecture is more like Spain or Portugal. It's kind of weird. I haven't really looked into it. Production, is it production IG? Let me double check that. Who's doing this? I mean, it's not bad. Animation is BM Pictures. I actually don't know who they are. It is an original story, I always like to check out original stories because I find that sometimes they can surprise you instead of just an adaptation. And so far, it's holding my interest, but it could go either way. So I can give an update at the end of the season, but it's not a strong recommend for me at this point. And I've watched 2 of them.
All right. So, is it just them? Is it just you're watching people play golf or learn about golf? It's not teaching you like other shows would, or?
I would say no. It's not really a teaching, but you do get how people choose their implements, their shots. It has some very unrealistic superhero-esque golfing that goes on. Like Eve, is a really strong driver. So on her driving shot, she breaks a tree branch, and it has no effect on the ball because it's like a bullet. So it's not golf, right? But it's drama. It's more of a drama.
All right. Doesn't seem like a show I would go for, but let's go ahead and go to the next one, which is really hard to find right now. Blackrock Shooter Downfall. I hear it was supposed to be a simulcast on Disney Plus, but that's probably just in Japan since I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Yeah, it's so this is interesting in that sense that Disney Plus is funding part of this. And so, similar to Netflix jail, this is in Disney jail currently for U.S. viewers. Blackrock Shooter, if you don't know, it was completely just based on the illustration that, oh God, I forget the guy's name now. There was just this cool-looking, anime-esque girl with glowing blue eyes and a super gigantic weapon. And that became, for some reason, became popular, and then I think Supercell wrote music for it, and then it got anime OVA. Then there was an anime TV series, and each iteration is slightly different. In this one, Blackrock Shooter is kind of set in a post-apocalyptic setting, and humans, the air is all polluted, and the humans are fighting against the machines. It's kind of generic at the same time. And Blackrock Shooter, apparently also known as Empress, was created by the humans to be their ultimate weapon against the machines. And the story takes place after some sort of defeat happened. Two kids who are salvaging are attacked by a robot. They try to get away, and they find this secret facility, where Blackrock Shooter has been stored. She awakens, but doesn't have a lot of her memories. It's all jumbled up, and that's how the adventure begins. So it's okay. I'm watching it just to see what they do with it, because it's a different setting than the TV show, which was more of their personas taking place in like a dreamscape world. And this one, it's the real physical world that's supposed to. So it's just interesting that I think Disney has another anime this season that they're back to. I can't remember, but it's interesting in that sense. And the animation's okay. The story's still a little iffy. And there is a very weird looking robot dude with apparently likes to do a lot of graping. So that is a serious concern too. But I'll continue to watch it for now, and I'll let you know how it goes.
So I believe Jessica mentioned it here in chat. It was a Huke that was the artist, also known to have drawn Hatsune Miku, the main character, the first character model, whatever you want to call it. And also, if you're into Hollow Live, does the virtual YouTuber for Kiara.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next title. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for it, but I don't see it because these are small thumbnails. I think this is it, right? Build Drive with Neo.
Yes. So this is the second season of Build Divide. I won't really say too much on what happened in the first season because I think it's pretty good. Like it's a story about a world based on like a card game, like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example. That sort of thing where they would battle with a deck of cards and you'd see their characters and they would fight each other. The characters in this anime are actually, I think the designs are pretty good, and the personalities really, I guess, hit a good mark for me because it's quite interesting the fact that I've actually seen the full first season and now watching the second season, being that I don't normally watch these type of animes. So with the second season, it starts off with a story with a girl named Kiku, which practically she was like the ruler of the I guess the universe or some sort, like the top champion, and now she's lost that title, so she's trying to build herself back up and find her courage to like survive, because it's turned into like a, I guess, not really like an apocalyptic wasteland sort of thing, but everything's just gone bad in the world. So it's I'd say it's a good anime to watch. I'd recommend it, but I don't think it would be for everyone.
So since this one's called white, is the first one called black?
Yes. Yeah. The first one's called Build Dive Code Black.
And do you have to have seen Black to start off White, or does White just start off on its whole new thing?
I would recommend definitely watching the first season, being that there is moments that you need to understand what happened to get to that situation. But I could say you could probably jump into Build Divide Code White just completely blank.
All right. Okay, let's go on to the next title then. Wait, okay, if I look at this is Danseur, or how do you say that last word?
Danseur. It's French. I don't know how to say French. That's the closest approximation I can give you.
So I think this is the image that they're sharing on Crunchyroll, which I have no idea what it would be about. Just two guys holding this girl in the center.
It's about ballet. And it's more specifically about a young man who wants to be a ballet dancer. And in ballet, the female dancers are ballerinas and the men are danseurs. And I really like this one so far. I've seen 3 episodes. It's very similar in its themes to My Dress Up Darling, in that the focus is on a man who wants to succeed in a hobby that a lot of people think isn't manly, and how he wrestles with his desire to sort of be a strong man, but also he loves dancing and it brings him joy, and that's what he wants to do. He's 13 or 14, I think they mention in one of the episodes. When he was a little boy, they do the typical anime thing of, as a little kid, he saw a male dancer and was absolutely enraptured and wanted to do this thing, but they take it a little further, and when he tells his father, hey, I want to be a dancer, the dad says, yeah, can't you do something a little more manly, like Jeet Do? It's a type of fighting style. I know I'm getting the name wrong, but why don't you do this instead? And then he sees how much his son is excited with the idea of dancing, and he's like, okay, fine, we'll let you do this. But he still wrestles with this constantly, is that he wants to be manly, he wants to prove himself to his friends, he doesn't want anybody to know that he wants to dance and do ballet. So that's sort of the conflict of the show. And so far I really like it. The animation where they do the ballet dancing is absolutely gorgeous, really beautiful. And I think that if you aren't into ballet, you could probably enjoy it. Anybody have any questions for me?
So is this just him? Sorry, is this just him trying to get into a club or do the dancing, or is it him learning more about ballet or something?
It's sort of more him coming to terms with his own self and being comfortable following his passion. So him getting into a ballet studio is not a problem, because a ballet studio is in desperate need of men for parts, because men don't want to dance ballet. So just by virtue of showing up, he gets to practice in the ballet studio. And there's a lot of awkwardness between the kids. I think it's one of the more realistic portrayals of teenagers in anime, because they're just all sort of fumbling around trying to figure out how to do normal social interaction type stuff, and they keep messing up and making mistakes, and I don't know. I just feel that it's a really genuine attempt at showing someone loving a hobby.
So from what I'm looking at and what I've seen from some of the images, I'm wondering, is this mainly taking place in the school, or is it mainly taking place in the ballet studio and other locations?
The ballet studio for most of it. There are a few scenes in the school, but basically those are just him trying to avoid getting painted with the "you're a ballet dancer" brush. So he goes out of his way to show off his martial arts prowess, and have that be sort of what people think he's into. And he is in a martial arts club. His father was a stunt coordinator for movies and everything, and people just assumed that he was going to follow in his father's footsteps. But tragically, and this does happen in the first episode, so it's a mild spoiler, his father passes away very suddenly. And so there's that added layer of him feeling like he needs to take responsibility and be the man of the house. And ballet is for sissies and girls, and I can't do this and still maintain that self-image that I want to cultivate.
I see. So, are you? Would you say you would recommend this to try it out, or?
So far, I'm only 3 episodes in, and we all know that anime can nosedive in the last third or quarter, but so far I really like what I see.
All right, I might have to give it a chance then.
Cool.
The animation studio is Mappa, so I would expect it to be really animated very well, depending on who they put on their project. But Mappa is known for pretty good animation.
So next up we got looks like Data Life, which is the 4th season, and I was actually kind of surprised that it was coming back. But then again, if you play the Konosuba phone app game, they had a collab, a crossover, and I saw all the characters ahead of time before the show. I'm like, oh no. But with that being said, this is a show you definitely have to be on the ball with to continue on. The cast has gotten so big, and how he's helped everyone throughout the seasons. It's very important that you have seen all the other stuff as he goes to save some more spirits, as they call them, right? So if you're wondering what the general gist of it is, that in this city, these, as they call them, I think, space quakes happen, and that's because of these spirits that traverse into this land, and they use this boy Shido to help seal the spirit's powers, and the only way he can do that is by kissing them, but he also has to have a good, favorable relationship with them for it to work. Hence the word, he has to go on a date and make them fall in love with him so he can seal their powers, so that they don't cause the space quakes and everyone can live happily ever after. But yeah. your harem anime, I guess you can call it, your typical harem anime. It's changed quite a bit over the years. I think it's gone through different studios because the animation looks different. But I don't know if this is going to be the final arc or how much we got left going on, but we were introduced to a whole new spirit and at the start of the season, and I believe there's going to be a few more as we go on. But yeah, if you're want to watch this, highly recommend watching everything else before it. Next up, we got what they call Daimon.
No, it's Daimon. Separate all the vowels there.
Daimon, recipe for happiness.
Yeah, who's watching this besides me? Oh, Vinnie. And
Yep.
I'm watching it too. Yeah.
I was gonna say, Tang,
Yeah.
you're watching it too.
Wait, I don't
You
have
forgot
Mark.
to put it.
Yeah, you don't have that marked.
Yeah. Anyway, this is based on a manga series, and I initially had no interest in this. I knew it was going to be a slice of life. I knew that from the setting, it was like a Japanese restaurant or something, right? But then when I was scrolling through, I noticed that the series composition is by Reiko Yoshida. And if you are, deep into anime, that's a name you would recognize because she has done a lot of the OreAni films, including K-On! And more recently Violet Evergarden. She's also been the series composer for Bakuman, Girls and Panzer, Majestic Prince, Non Non Biori, all these really surprisingly good one. And this season or last season, she also did Keikei Monogatari. Right. So knowing that, I knew at least it was going to be well written, and I decided to check it out. And it's surprisingly really good. So the story revolves around this guy who's been in a band for like 10 years since he left home, and he's not making it very well. And his bandmates just quit. He gets a letter from home saying his dad has collapsed, and so he decides to go back home. Turns out his dad is just fine. He just had a bad back, and he finds this little girl. I think she's elementary school year 5, 5th grade or 6th grade. Who his dad has taken his parents have taken in because her dad kind of left her with him. All that detail is not quite there, but she's been well liked, and his dad is has declared that she's going to take over the family business. Not you, my son, who left. Right. So there's some family conflict. Their store is not a restaurant, but it's a Japanese confectionery store, Nagashiya, and it's set in Kyoto. So everything about the show, I actually really, really enjoy. I think the characters are well written. The story so far is interesting, and there's conflict, but it's resolved in a heartwarming manner. You can see that there are issues that they all carry, but that will eventually, hopefully, come to some sort of resolution. Maybe not a happy one, judging from some things, but yeah, it's a strong, surprising recommend from me. And if you really like slice of life, this is a must watch. Even if you don't like slice of life, if you want to learn a little bit more about a little bit of different Japanese culture, or want to hear them speak in the Kyoto dialect, which is very different from the standard Japanese, which is called Kyojungo, which literally means standard. Give this a try. It's a strong recommend for me. What do you guys think, Vinny and Neo?
I liked it so far. Yeah, as you said, it's a slice of life. I find those Japanese confectionery to be quite interesting. Somebody I knew once told me that Japanese food is eaten with your eyes, not with your taste bud. And if you look at how delicately those things are made, I certainly believe that you kind of feel hesitant towards eating it because it looks so beautiful. Yeah, the dialects are different. It's not your typical Tokyo dialect, so you can literally notice it from the get-go. And I like that main character who is kind of a flunking from the society, going back to parents, just trying to start over and encountering these weird circumstances, which I kind of find it amusing. Only thing I didn't like about this series so far is that how the girl circumstances came to be. It kind of smacks into the whole neglecting parent stereotype, which I kind of find that a little distasteful, but that's plot to drive the character and the storyline. So I guess that's just that.
Yeah, I would have to say, like, I think the anime is like pretty good. I didn't notice the difference in Japanese, honestly. When you're reading the subtitles, you don't notice. But I find that like it feel to me it feels really wholesome. It's a really good anime to watch after watching an action pack anime. Um, Not to say that you need to watch an action pack to boost how this anime is like. Um, but I find that it's really good because it has all different types of characters in it. It's got the really goofy main character, the shy girl that's trying to deal with her abandonment issues, to like a very like I guess angry father like that had his expectations of his son destroyed, and a few other characters shown throughout the episodes. So I definitely like this anime and I would recommend it.
Yeah, very fun show. Before this, I was actually got a lot of recommendations on YouTube for the those Japanese candy making. You can find a lot of them there, where they just make all sorts of different designs and stuff. So once I seen some of those and saw this was coming out, I'm like, oh, this should be fun to see if they make some of the stuff I've seen, out on those YouTube videos. And I've seen a few of them, and just watching the show, I'm also just enjoying the interaction and also the development of the little girl, because with how serious she is and everything, it's kind of fun to see her childish moments pop up. So I think it's a good show to watch to see her growth. And I don't know about the main protagonist and how his growth is going to go. His just seems to be a lot slower, if anything. But the only thing that bugs me is like, what's with the chestnut? So I hope they explain more on why he's always wearing that. I mean, I know it's part of his band thingy, but just like why. But it's been a fun show. Alright, so next we got is Istab Life, Great Escape, which Neo looks like he's gotten into it a little bit. What kind of show is this? Is it...
So I've roughly watched 1.5 episodes of this, so it's still pretty vague. But so they're in a city and they're like high school girls, and their job is, I think they call it like extractors. And what it's all about is it's about these girls that get clients that want out of their, like, I guess, adult responsibilities. Like they're sad or like, depressed, or they're just unhappy with their current life circumstances. So their job is to practically get them out of their tight situation and transfer them to like another city, which is like a paradise or something. And in doing so, they're treated like terrorists. So they have this like government going after them. It's really vague what's really going on in the first episode and a half, but it's definitely interesting, being that it's not your traditional 2D animation. So a good example is like it reminds me a lot of what's that series, Ruby or something. It reminds me a lot of that with their animation. The characters, they're kind of like your iconic characters in a way. The one on the left, let me see. Her name's like Ferris, and
Hey, would you also
pretty
compare?
stoned.
Would you compare it with that one of the death guy and the maid?
Oh, The Duke of Death and his maid.
Yeah, with like that lifetime animation.
Hmm. I honestly prefer the Duke of Death and his maid's animation more than this, but I'd say it's good on its own. Like, I don't. I'm just trying to remember what the animation was like, but I'm pretty sure it was like, I guess it's more noticeable with this one when you see like 3D animation, being that it's like action packed and there's a lot of movement. So for like, I guess first time viewers into like watching 3D animation for anime, it is really off putting. But I'd say it's definitely done well from what I've seen with other animes in 3D.
I see. Yeah. Do you have anything else to add, or?
Uh, no, like it's all right. I wouldn't say everyone would like it though.
All right. So next up, I think we got this skeleton isekai anime. Skeleton Knight in Another World. Sorry, Skeleton Knight in Another World. Gai Kotsu Kishi-sama Tadaima Isekai e Odekakechu.
Yep, you got it.
Woohoo! Wait, who's watching this? Oh, me.
You are.
Oh, it looks like it's just me and Neo. So, yeah, this show is one of those shows that comes out with a disclaimer at the beginning saying, beware, this very touchy subject matter is about to show up. And right off the bat are bandits attacking these two girls and basically ravishing them, to put it politely. And then we get to the main character as they do like a flashback of how he got there, and he looks like this big strong warrior in this holy knight suit, as you might want to call it, or how it looks. But underneath he realizes and finds out that he's a skeleton, and that it was an avatar that he had made in a game, I believe. And he has no idea how he got here, what he's doing here. So he's just right now just moving along with life and trying to secure means for money so that he can live and learn more about what's going on. So this is I've read the web novel, I believe, and I believe there's also a manga on it, and that they're actually really far into the stories there. So if you've seen those things, you might want to forget what's going on, because this show has decided to move some of the main things around in a way. So it's somewhat different from those sources. So but overall, I mean, it's okay. I'm not going to say it's great. It's too hard to say anything right now with what I've seen, if it's going to be fun or not. But since I've already seen the manga and read the book, it's not really like a super top pick for me. So I can't really give it a good, honest opinion if I want to say people should watch it based off of how good it is. But I would say the animation has been somewhat decent. I think they're using the 3D models for the night most of the time, especially from afar, and it's not as bad as some other shows. I mean, it blends okay, and but just I don't know. I think there's other isekais that are better right now. So, well, what about you, Neo?
Well, after that long explanation, I don't really have much to add. Like, I don't mind it. Like you were saying with the CG components that they have in it, it it is noticeable, but I wouldn't say it's like distracting to the eye. And yeah, so the main character, and I believe, the main character is mostly CG. I think there's probably been times where he was like a still image or something, but that's been pretty good. Story-wise, I don't mind. He seems like a free spirit at the moment, just wandering around doing whatever he feels like to, like you said, earn money. But it looks like a plot has started to develop in the latest episodes, so it'll be interesting to know what, I guess, the future episodes are going to be like. So I'd say I'd recommend it, but don't have high expectations.
The only thing that I've...
Probably.
what were you saying, Albert?
Go for it. I was saying it's probably a good summary because, yeah, it is based on a light novel that started in 2014. The manga started in 2017. And, this anime, I don't quite understand why they decided to go the way where you would need to put disclaimers, right? Because that bandit scene that you talked about, in the manga, it's just like one panel on one page. Then on the next page, there's like two panels where this attempted rape scene is happening. But in the anime, they start off the entire series with that, and then you get the flashback, and then you get a second viewing of the attempted rapes. And it's like really confused as what they were trying to do. Were they taking this in a dark and gritty way instead of the very comedic manga? Right? And then episode 2 airs, and there's this disclaimer. I'm like, I don't understand what the disclaimer is about. And there's one scene where a giant monster gets beheaded gruesomely. I guess maybe that's why. So I'm like, why is it necessary to have this, dark and gritty and bloody and disturbing violent scenes? Although in the manga they're all there. It's just that it's one panel, or it happens in the background, right, from like afar. But they seem to be really focused on this stuff in the anime. And so after episode 2, I was like, I have other things I need to watch. This is a very heavy season, so I decided to skip it.
I feel like some like scenes in this anime, like they feel like they're dragged out a little bit, because like the main character's like having this decision of should I help or not, and it's just like he's pondering for so long that it's just dragging out the whole scenario. Like, I guess it isn't truly bad, but I feel like it's just like skip.
So it's actually kind of weird how you say that, because I was going to mention something that the reason that scene I thought was weird to show at the beginning even is that I remember reading the light novel or whatever novel I was reading. This actually doesn't happen until a whole lot further into the story, and when he runs into them, and by that moment he's trying to be incognito, so he doesn't want to stand out. So that's why he hesitated, even trying to go out there to save them or anything. But of course this changes everything. They've changed a lot of things, like even how he found that little fox thing, right? He just found him in
trapped.
Right. So in the I think manga even he didn't get them until he saw him in a cage with bandits, right?
I think that's right.
So they've changed things and moved things around, and I don't know why they did that, but it's not really helping the story out making it any better. But we'll see how it goes in the future. But there's a lot of things that they've done that I don't understand why they did it that way.
You can let us know after the season.
Yeah, it's not bad that I don't want to watch it, but it's probably low on my list. So if there's extra time, I think I will watch it. But it's an isekai, I gotta watch him.
There's too many isekais lately. At least it doesn't have the trope where the main villain is a demon or something.
Oh, the other thing I kind of wanted to mention that I thought was a little different from this one is that in typical isekais, when they have to fight, kill other people, in the anime they didn't really give him this thing where he was trying to rationalize, is this morally wrong or is this okay, with his Japanese standards and stuff. So they didn't do any of that in this show. So I'm wondering, like, if he believes this is all still kind of a game where there's no consequences to himself or what's going on or what's going to happen. I don't know.
Well, we can move on.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the new title, which is going to be for Jessica.
Hey. So this is Gunjo no Fanfare, or Fanfare of Adolescence as it's called in English. And it's about horse jockeys. And confession time, the only reason why I started watching this is because I have a real soft spot for derpy anime horses. They're so horribly drawn most of the time, and I was really hoping that in a series about anime horse racing that we'd get to see some derpy horses. But alas, they're all CGI. They're all the exact same model, just copy pasted. So that was a little bit of a letdown. I can't say that I'd really super duper recommend this one because I kind of lost my interest after the first episode. I think I might try for episode 2 just to see if it does anything at all. But a few things that stood out to me was I thought it was going to be another idol bait and switch for a minute, because the main character is an idol and he decides to quit being an idol to become a jockey. So far that hasn't happened yet, the jockeying or the idol jockeying, so we'll see. But the other standout is that they tried to stop a runaway horse by standing in front of it with their arms outspread. And that's not how you stop a runaway horse. You just let them run. In a horse versus human contact, you will not win. So yeah, this one I just kind of watched out of morbid curiosity, and I'm not really invested at all in the story or the characters.
Oh, I thought this was going to be like the opposite of Musume horse racing game or show, whatever that one was. Just the guys this time.
It's such an unusual premise, and I don't know anything about the sport inside of Japan and how it differs from over here. So yeah, I don't really have a lot to say with it unless anyone has questions pertaining to the first episode.
I mean, did the horses at least look like they were running correctly?
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty obviously 3D models, so I wouldn't say that it's the best looking horse in an anime, but it's middle of the pack. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the next title. I love the music in this show. Healer Girls. So, as I was getting ready to watch Love Live, I was like, wait, Healer Girls music? Hey, this might be better. Let's watch this instead. And I am so happy I watched this instead. So, let me see here. Doesn't look like many people have watched it. But Healing Girls is like, I think in this world, music has a property to heal as well in a certain way. And they have these clinics that use these singers to help heal, not like major things, but like fatigue, scrapes, cuts, some other stuff. It doesn't seem like it will heal, like big gashes or severed limbs or anything like that, so it's not too outrageous. But it follows the story of these three apprentices that are learning and training to become official healing healing singers, I guess you could call them. And throughout the whole first episode, it has this whole like how do you say it? Musical feeling, like, because they'll just break out into songs in the middle of what they're working on, but not just like randomly. They'll be listening to music and then they'll start singing about how they feel and stuff as kind of like how they're training. And it's just so fun to see how the different ways that each girl sings. And also I noticed it's one of the only shows that's been released this season that has subtitles in its opening music too, right off from episode 1. So
You're right about that.
and it's
It kind of sort of is and isn't a musical though, because like Tank was saying, most of the music is diegetic, and in musicals it doesn't tend to be that way. So I've only seen the first episode, Tank. Do they continue with inserting the songs as part of the actual world of the story?
so it's not it's kind of weird. It's like as if you just kind of sing what you're saying in a sense. Sometimes just it happens a few times. Like there's this one moment where they're all kind of lethargic, but they're all kind of singing like, "Oh, I wish we could go over there." And then the other girl's like, "Yeah, we should go over there." Kind of thing, as they kind of sing the dialogue instead of actually talking about it. But that doesn't happen throughout the whole thing. It's just like that one moment because of what was happening to them. They were really stressed and they were just kind of going over a lot of stuff. They had done a lot of singing and training, so that's not how the show is. But you do have moments like that, but when it comes to the actual healing, they actually heal. They actually sing certain songs for the healing. It's not like they just think up whatever they want in their mind. That there's certain rhythm, certain music that helps for certain things. So as you go through, you'll learn about it, and they even make fun of like the professional healers have these moments where they even sing in their sleep or control their breathing in their sleep because of it's that important for them, for their voice and for their job. And you'll see the teacher or the master of the clinic. She'll be sleeping in her bed. She'll be like, la 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 la, type of thing. So I've just been enjoying it a lot, and it's been fun. And they also have these two new girls that we see that are kind of the rivals to the girls that are gonna kind of seem like helping each other build off of each other as they compete with each other to see who's the better healer, in a sense. But it's been a really fun show, and but like I said, to me it reminded me a lot of musicals, and I love musicals, so I'm really enjoying the songs and stuff that they're making as they go through.
I would have to say with this anime, I wasn't too sure if I would enjoy it at the start. But after the latest episode, it gave me shivers and almost teared up with the scenario that they're dealing with. It makes me excited to see the future episodes. I'm not entirely a big fan of, I guess, like these sort of anime where they sing almost every chance they get. But I'd say it's pretty good. Like the animation is quite nice and subtle on the eyes, and there's a rivalry, with the characters and all that. So I enjoyed it. I'd recommend it.
I'm going to keep watching it just because it's a bit of a curio in that there aren't that many anime musicals out there. So having you say that, Neo, that it gets better and more emotional later on makes me anticipate the newer episodes a lot. Because so far I just saw the first episode and none of the tunes were really catchy. None of them were memorable to me. I I couldn't hum a single bar of any of them. So I really hope that a show about music leans into the music in future episodes a little more.
So yeah, in that sense, it's kind of strange because like unlike idol shows and everything where they have certain songs that are really memorable, I would say honestly none of these music that they're singing inside of it are going to be too memorable because they want to keep it open. Kind of like if you've seen like sing a bit of harmony, it kind of gives that feel of where they have those singing songs is what's going on as they describe what's happening. But there are, like I said, there are a few songs that are made and specifically. So, but I don't know if they were going to be memorable as in the words, but as in the visuals and feeling you get. I think it really strikes you there. What about you, Vinny? Did you drop it or you just didn't?
I watched the first episode and it's kind of contemplating whether to keep on watching or not. It's bubbly and happy and there's a lot of singing. I think I just have to be in a different mood to enjoy it, so I'll probably give it a shot.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next title, which I think a few of us have been wanting to watch for a while now. Okay, this is the sorry, it was covered. Honzuki no Gekkokujo Shisho ni naru tame ni wa shudan wo eran deirare masen, third season, or Ascendance of the Bookworm.
Yep.
Season 3.
Yep.
The thing that's kind of actually making me throw me off about this is that unlike because on Crunchyroll, they're just continuing the number count instead of actually saying it's season 3 or season 2. They're just like, this is episode 24 or something like that, or 27.
But that's the same with the actual episode's title card too. Season 3 first episode actually says episode 27, so they're not wrong in that.
Oh, I never paid attention to this.
I mean, it is a continuation of a story, and I mean, season 3, like the second arc of her mind story, didn't actually end at the end of the so-called season 2 production, right? So it's a long-running light novel, web novel that started and became a light novel, and there's a manga adaptation. I've been reading the manga, and yeah, I mean, it's a isekai in a sense. The protagonist is a female. She's a little girl. When she realizes that she has memories of her previous life in Japan, and she's reincarnated into a medieval-esque technology-wise, a medieval society where there is no book. Books are super expensive, handwritten items that only nobles get, or the religious, few. And she is in love with books, so she is doing anything and everything to try to make books, because she realizes there's no books for me, so I'm just gonna have to make it. And the story-wise, this is the part where she has semi-left her family, but she is working as a priestess at I forget what the religion is called in the story, but because of her ability to create these new items that is impacting society, she has become the target of various plots by the nobles. And so, this season will semi-resolve that and then continue on to the next arc, I believe. So in some ways, a continuous numbering makes more sense than calling it season 3. It's the third production of this, and we'll see how far it goes. But yeah, it started a little bit later than some of the other shows, I believe. I've only watched the first 2, and things are going down. I enjoy it. It's more slice of life than true, than what you might think of as isekai, with action scenes and all that. But yeah, I enjoy it, and I'll continue to watch it.
Now, it does seem like it is behind. I think there's only 2 episodes, right? As far
3.
as yesterday.
3.
So the 3rd episode came out
Monday.
Monday?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I think it also released 2 episodes that were kind of like synopsis, right?
Yeah, it's first 2 sort of episode 0, however you name it. It's a recap episode of season 1 and season 2, narrated by 2 characters. I think first recap was narrated by Lutz, mine's friend, and second recap episode was a synopsis of season 2, and that was voiced by Gil, which is one of the attendant of mine, sister mine, at that point in Temple. I think this season 3 is only going to be 10 episodes, and there's a little bit of joke about how each season's getting shorter and shorter in progression, where the first season was 14 episodes, second season was 12, third season is 10, so therefore if there's ever a season 4, that's gotta be 8, and so on and so forth, which I doubt it.
All right. But there's not much else to be said about this, right? Because you just have to continue from if you're watching it from the last seasons, right?
Yeah, I mean this is already season 3, so either you watch the first season and second season and you're going to keep at it, or you watched a little bit of first season and didn't care for it, and you're not gonna really feel one way or another and pick up midway, because it just makes no sense to pick up from season 3. And unfortunately, this is one of the series where animation quality isn't really good enough to catch eyes, which is regrettable, given that some of the production done by the same company was a lot better. What was that series with the father who is a mangaka who's trying to hide his job from his daughter?
Kakushimoto.
Yeah, I mean that one looks so much better. You can hardly believe it's actually from the same production company. But here we are. This one got the 3rd season, and it still looks middling. It really doesn't look any better or worse than the first 2 seasons. You just watch it for the sake of a storyline continuation, and I think they're projecting this season will end with part 2 of the light novel, which will be the good wrapping point for those who's been reading the books for long enough times. I mean, I've been reading the books and the manga and short story and side story and everything I can get my hands on it, so not gonna spoil there.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next title. Which is Kaguya-sama. Kaguya-sama Love is War Ultra Romantic, which is the 3rd season, another 3rd season for spring. And I guess there's not really too much to say about this as well, right? I mean, you just got to continue on from the first season. Some of the episodes are kind of standalone with the antics that go on, but it'll probably be better to start watching some of the older stuff now because they do call back to some of the other stuff that's happened in the previous episodes now. Let me see. Looks like yeah. Does anyone else have anything else to say about it? I mean, there's really not much else to say, I think, right?
It's same old, and another kick-ass opening.
Okay, so here's the next title that actually came out of nowhere to me. It's called A Couple of Cuckoos. Kako no Inazuke, which, if I think of Inazuke means engagement, or is it that? Or...
Yes, it means fiance.
Oh yeah, fiance. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, this, I think it came out last Saturday, right? So with this Saturday, it released the second episode on Crunchyroll, and it seems to be your kind of typical, like, rom-com, I would say, but it's actually been somewhat entertaining to me. What do you think, Neo? What was your thoughts on it? I know. Did I catch Neo offline?
I think Neo is away from Key for a moment.
Oh man. Okay, I guess I'm the only other one that's seen this, right? Yeah. So this show is right off the bat. It starts off with the birth of a child, and then all of a sudden, guess what? These kids were placed in the wrong beds, so they were switched at birth. So one family, or two families, ended up with the wrong kids, and now you jump, I think, 16 years later, and it's time to meet your original parents, right? So the boy is going to meet his biological mother and father for the first time, and there's no hard feelings or anything going on about it. I mean, he's going to attend the meeting to see them, but as far as he's concerned, since he's lived with the parents he's had right now for so long, that he doesn't really intend to go with the other family, and I believe the other family's kind of respecting that as far as this episode goes. And as he's getting to leave, you could see how he's lived his life. He's a very studious student and takes everything kind of serious. And as on his way to his meeting to meet his parents, he runs into this female that seems to, like, looks like she's going to jump off a bridge. And so he tries to save her, but has that lucky skebe moment, as you want to call it, right? And due to that, these two unlikely people that would have never really interacted with each other have a small discussion about why they're doing what they're doing and stuff. And she decides that he wants him to be help her with her problems. And I don't want to say too much more. I think you guys should just watch it and see how it is. It's not too bad, but it is kind of your typical love harem thing, I would say, with the exception that I hope it doesn't add new girls every other arc or something. which it doesn't seem like it is. It seems like he's showing all the girls at once that he's going to have some kind of romantic feelings with or some kind of romantic atmosphere with it by the end of the first episode. And the only thing I can kind of compare it with in that sense is maybe Rent a Girlfriend, where you have those three girls, right, with one guy, but the guy is not pathetic like that main character. But with the 2 episodes out so far, it's been pretty fun, and just give it a try. It's not bad, but it might not just be what you're into right now. So
There's not much I can add on to what Tank said, but it reminds me a lot of another anime where it ends up being a forced marriage. And there's that whole, like, I guess, internal conflict with the main character, with the girl that he actually has liked for the past, say, couple of years to now he's betrothed, and he's just, like, you know, trying to deal with, like, if he should go with the betrothal or, like, you know, stay true to his path of you know, seeking out this other girl.
are you talking about Nisekoi?
Probably, yeah. That's that one where they're like a Yakuza or something, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It reminds me. This anime reminds me of that one. But this anime, I feel like it's got to wait and see if it's truly worth it.
Yeah, that's all we got to say. But I think with it seems it's going on for 2 course because it's listed for 24 episodes. So I'm just kind of curious of why it started so late. So let's see what's next up. Alright, next up we got this title here with Shikimori, I think it is. Kawaii Dake Janai Shikamori-san. So, Albert, what made you drop this? I'm kind of curious.
I watched 1 episode. It wasn't really grabbing me. I gave it another episode, and it's kind of the same thing that happens. The main girl, the pink-haired girl, Shikimori, is in love with the main other character whose name I forget, who has some sort of curse and is very accident prone. And so she protects him from all kinds of things, including a possible truck encounter. And whenever she goes into her cool mode, she doesn't look all cutesy and all that. She looks really cool and is like an action hero almost. And I get it, but I don't. So far, they have in the 2 episodes I watched, it's the same thing that happens. There's no indication of why she loves him so much. He's always apologizing, which would get old, I would think. Instead of thanking her, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, and yeah, it just did not grab me. So I said no. Despite the cute ED cinematics that looks like a mini game, it's not going to my interest. So I gave it up.
So this would be a title I think I would have given up, but since I'm watching it with a group of friends, I think I'm going to keep on watching it because of that. But my main thing is with the main guy. He's not doing anything for me for this show, and actually kind of upsets me sometimes. And the moments, I mean, granted, she has some beautiful key shots in some of the shows and some of the scenes, It's just not enough to keep my interest into wanting to watch this every week. But the other thing is, like, when she stares at you with those eyes, it's like she's staring into your soul, I swear. She has these really sharp eyes. It's like kind of crazy. But I don't know. I think it's just the main guy that's not doing it for me, that I can't get into the show because of him. What about Neo? Are you actually enjoying the show a lot, or?
Um, I'd say, like, I'd have to agree with the fact that I'm not entirely a big fan of the main character, but I feel like there's, like, if you actually pay attention to some of the other characters other than the main characters, it's actually not too bad. Like, there's, you know, the high school friends, and they have moments in the episodes that I find that are either funny or they have a supportive role. So it definitely has that slice of life plot to it. Like, there's even just moments where Shikimori and I think his name's Yu are, like, you know, at his house or something, and then the parents are there, and they just have all these moments, and it's like it's good to watch, but it does feel a little boring sometimes, especially how he's always accident prone, and she just saves the day. It makes you question if there's just going to be a point in time where she's not going to be able to actually save him, and God knows, he could end up in hospital. One thing that I'm really nitpicky on is their eyes. I'm not a big fan on the style of eyes they've chosen, because they've got like it's not like a sharp line around the iris or anything, or pupil, whatever the term of the eye part is. So that bit throws me off. Like, there is, like, moments in the anime that are really great, and others just aren't. I'm about like a 50-50 on this anime.
Yeah, the only thing I got looking forward to is what happens to the main character. Is he going to go in a hospital and have this whole tragic moment? But I just feel it'll resolve itself into a happy moment, so I can't be too excited about what's going to go on.
I do like, there is one little thing I would add. I do like for example, the mother's relief to see that the son is kind of had this, like, character development from when he was a little kid to present time now. So seeing, like, getting that little bit of a I guess backstory on how his, like, childhood was, I think that was a good add to it.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next show. Which is called Love After World Domination, Koi wa Sekai Seifuku no Alto de. This actually surprised me a lot. I didn't know what to expect when I was getting into this, and after watching the first episode, I'm kind of really hooked, and it's been a really fun show. I'm kind of spacing out on the term. Is it oh man, what do you call those? Power Sentai? Is that it?
Yeah, Sentai is Power Rangers.
Yeah, so that it's that Sentai vibe, or they call them the Gelato 5, and they're all based off of, like, fruit or some kind of flavors. And
Flavor, because there's the blue is actually, I believe he's a ramune or soda. He's soda flavor, meaning, you know, like a ramune flavor. Everyone else is a fruit, I think.
Yeah, so you got these characters that are fighting, of course, the evil organization, but it just so happens that that the main character, Red, uh, Fudo, falls in love with the main one of the main villains, which I think they call her the Princess of Death or something, but her name is Desumi, and it's just hilarious watching these two interact with each other and also try to find moments to be together during their main fights and as they learn about each other. It's I think in the first episodes they start off being very wary of each other, not getting close to each other because they don't know how to interact with each other at the moment. But as you go through the series, they're getting closer and closer, and it's just really really fun. A new conflict kind of did show up at the end of episode 3, which I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen now. But it's also been quite a bit of fun with the miscommunication as he tries to explain himself to his boss, and his boss is giving him information without knowing everything, and it's probably going to cause a lot more problems in the future. But it's just silliness to max, and with a little bit of romance in it.
This anime isn't like I'd have to agree. Like I'm definitely hooked on it too. I'm not big into these sort of animes where it's like what is it called, Sentai or like Power Rangers. Like I've never liked an anime like this, but I really find it funny how two enemies are like, you know, trying to like make it work and like taking advantage of like their side to meet up, sort of thing. So it has a plus in my books. Like it's pretty good.
So what about you, Vinny? What are your thoughts?
Okay, here we go. I like those Chibi Sentai series actually. Especially if the music is equally Chibi, that usually puts me in a really good mood. And when the whole opening started with this like over the top kind of a music, I thought, okay, this is gonna be either really good or really terrible. And I enjoyed it so far. It follows, on the shell, it follows your prototypical, kind of a goopy Chibi Sentai series, but then obviously the twist is that two opposing faction falls in love like Romeo and Juliet, and they try to make it work without, revealing that scandalous secret to everybody else that will jeopardize their romance. That's the whole premise of the series. And having said that, after I watched the first episode, I was kind of wondering, is the character supposed to look like that? And then I went to read the manga and realized, oh yeah, that's how they were supposed to look like that. So it's not an animation issue. It's just the way the character is actually written or drawn, rather. But overall, this has been very enjoyable. It's goofy, cheesy. It's a bit silly, but it's kind of silly in a really good ways. And you kind of wonder, okay, there's gotta be ways to somehow make this work, and what's gonna be the next hurdles to overcome. And the fact that neither of the party actually has much experience being in romantic relationship kind of makes it like you know, it kind of gives that whole idea that they're going to basically trip over every single miscues. And so far, I am enjoying those kind of silliness as well. And the action scene, whenever it happens, it's been pretty decent. I was kind of half expected to be, very little to it, but whenever they throw some of the action scene, it's been good enough to watch it. So I'm enjoying it so far.
So, as someone that never really got into Power Rangers as a kid or whatnot, and I don't really like Sentai, I wanted to get your guys' opinion before I started this. And Neo sort of touched on it. He doesn't care for that either, but you still found it entertaining. And would you guys recommend this to someone who has a Sentai allergy?
Yes, with a asterisk.
Uh-oh.
In a nutshell, it's really Sentai is really the plot that's needed to drive the series to work. Since basically those two are basically flirting on the job, and their job is one is a villainess and the other one is a Sentai ranger. So there's really no avoiding seeing some of the Sentai moment. But having said that, it's not full on Sentai through and through. They don't get too crazy over all this, suits and power ups and whatnot. It's just that you will see those guys dressed up like a typical Sentai, got the typical color matching stuff, and you could even see that the wardrobe is very generic. You could literally swap out the character letter from some different kind and you could call it a day. But once you kind of get past that, the real meat of the series is really the unlikely romance that's happening. Just that happens to be in a Sentai and a evil villain cheesy organization that kind of got thrown in there to make it work.
Okay, thank you.
But the only thing that confuses me about the show is like, how old are they? Because I believe they say that Fudo's in high school.
Yeah.
But like, what is Thisumi? What is she? Is she a high schooler too, or is she like an old adult? It's just kind of weird how they.
I don't know if they revealed her age yet, but I'm guessing they're similar enough.
Yeah,
she could be a little bit older, but yeah.
What doesn't make sense to me is like, it seems like the I guess villains, like as the villains they're seen as the bad people and all that, but like I also like, because like a lot of them are wearing some form of a costume, so I wonder if they actually go out in society without their, like, I guess costume, and then just live their everyday life. Because it's like there's this whole picture of Decime, also known as the I think it's called the Reaper Princess, how she's known as this like I guess really evil princess that will like destroy you or something, I don't know. And then you find out that her actual personality is the polar opposite of that. So that's like something really interesting that they've done there for me.
Yeah, it doesn't look. I mean, it looks like they do have their secret bases and labs and whatnot, but doesn't appear that not everybody's basically working and living there 24/7. And her being the boss, normally you would expect that she will just pretty much live and die there, but just like I guess a twist they decided to give is that if those Sentai characters have double lives, their normal life and their hero life, why not give the same treatment to the evil villains, especially the ones who's in the movers and shaker? So to me, that actually makes more sense. And they're kind of strictly treating this as a job, not as a life.
It kind of reminds me of this old anime called Dokaider, where they're testing power suits against the villains to see what company gets the government job or something like that. And the good guys and the villains all end up renting the same apartment complex, so they're all living with each other. But then they go out and then they have the whole big battles, but none of them know that the other one's the hero and the other one's the villains or anything like that.
That's kind of funny.
Let me see what title's next here. Oh yeah, I forgot this is back. I actually haven't watched any of it. Komi-san, right?
I think it's still on Netflix, Jail.
It is.
Komi-san season 2.
Oh, so they're not simulcasting like they did the first season?
Actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess I could look it up right now, but
Because I remember
It
the
was
first
on-
season was simulcasting, although I think like a week later or something like that.
possibly. Yeah. Me some. New episode. Oh, it says new episode weekly, although only one season is listed. Looks like. So I don't know what's up with that. Might be more delayed than we thought, or maybe they're releasing it as a batch. Who knows? But yeah, it's more of the same old. So it's Komi-san. You watched season 1 and you liked it, it's the same. Although there's hints that there might be some more, relationship stuff developing. And if you don't care for season 1, for any number of reasons, which I totally understand, and yeah, it's not going to be for you. So
So I think
Would you say?
I think the first season didn't even go past 100 chapters of the manga, and there's like over 300 chapters or something like that, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's been long running, and there's a ton of material, I believe.
So would you say the second season is practically like the first season? Like nothing much has really changed except for just going through what happens in the manga.
Seems that way. Yeah, it seems like they're just following along. A few more characters get introduced. I've watched two episodes. I think there's more out, but it's one of those. I don't feel the need to watch it weekly.
I feel like I probably won't even watch the second season. Like, Komi Can't Communicate, for me, has been more enjoyable reading the manga than actually watching the anime.
Mm. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that. So I haven't read the. Well, no, that's not true. I have read the manga. I'm not up to date, but yeah, I think it's just following along. So there is that whole, you kind of want to get them to a more interesting place than her not being able to communicate and trying to make her 100 friends. But so far, it's just doing that.
Alright, so it looks like we'll have to wait for next season to get all the episodes out, and then we can watch them on Netflix. Binge watch, yay! That's what everyone likes
Yes.
to do, right?
Speaking of Netflix, they did drop Tiger and Bunny season 2. If you watched, the original series Tiger and Bunny, you might want to check it out. I haven't had time to look at it yet. They did also drop a couple of movies, I believe. Netflix is going through some troubled times, so they are canceling some of their animation projects, and they also canceled a project, or they had a project with one of the studios, Studio Kaleido, and they canceled like the third movie that they had contracted them to do.
I wonder if they're still going with that, One Piece live action that I remember seeing like over half a year ago.
Good question. I don't know.
Last I heard, it was still greenlit and they were working on it, but it just seems like the worst idea.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm not looking forward to it.
No, me neither.
So after Comey, we got this show, which I'm only bringing up so we can warn everyone not to watch it. Kono Healer Mendokusai.
I recommend it. Watch it.
Yeah, anime of the season. Just kidding. So honestly, the first episode was hilarious. I was laughing so much. It was just so stupid and so funny. But then I learned that all the episodes after that are the exact same thing. So I think if you just watch the first episode, you get the whole thing. You don't have to watch anymore. I think Mio's seen more than me though, so he could probably tell you a little bit of what's actually happened.
So yeah, I've only like truly watched the first. I've technically watched the first episode twice because I watched it by myself and I convinced like Tenkun and a few others to watch it with me, and it's hilarious hearing people's like impressions of this anime. It's really weird. It's following that MMO where you've got the tank, the healer, and like the DPS sort of thing. So the main character is like I think he might be a tank, but like he's a DPS. Anyway, he's in a pinch, and the dark elf comes over, and she's obviously a healer. He's asking her to help while he's in a pinch, like fighting this bear or something, like near death scenario. And she's just staring at him and turning around saying, "Shouldn't you grovel if you're asking for help?" And it's just like, what? So it's just like the whole like episode was just them having a conflict with one another about a stupid like moment or something. So after watching the first episode, I'm like, okay, I'm actually curious how the second and third episode goes, and it's practically the same thing. They encounter an enemy and something stupid happens, and they end up having a fight, or not a physical fight, like a verbal like discussion, which just gets dragged on for 20 so minutes. I feel like this anime would be a lot better if it was like a 6-minute episode, because like the whole 20 minutes just feels so dragged out, like to the point where when I was looking at the third episode I was skipping through it just to see if it is the same. So like said before, it's not recommended. Anyone got any questions while Tank's AFK?
Yeah, well, it's not a question, but I heard someone else review it, and you know, they have to stick together because she accidentally curses him, right?
Yeah,
So
that is correct.
He can't leave her. So there's that, and then I understand the bear becomes a recurring character.
So far I've only seen the bear the first episode, but it's really funny how like her role is a healer and yet she places curses.
Right, right. I guess support, healer support, debuff, she's good at it. I don't know. It sounds more like a 4-panel manga, but I think it's actually just a regular manga series. That's 5 volumes out, so yeah, I had no interest after watching like a preview of it.
Yeah.
So a sad,
Like
sad show.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I was just saying it's a sad, sad show.
Sad show, yeah. Like the animation, like, is pretty good, and the visuals are nice, but like the actual story plot is just, yeah, it's not recommended to watch.
All right, let's go to another show that I think is way better. Okay, this is called let me see here. Kunochi Tsubaki no Mune no Uchi, or In the Heart of Kunochi Tsubaki. So it's done by Cloverworks, which they did some really good shows last season. And this show is unique in its own way. I think I'm actually surprised, Jessica, you're watching it. I didn't think this would be your type of show. What made you pick it up?
Well, I read the premise, and that sounded kind of interesting to me, but I was a little hesitant. I hoped that the show would not be these misandrists are don't know what men are, and they're gonna make jokes about that for 13 episodes. But I think it's a little more than that, and I also thought the character designs were really cute. That all of the little ninja girls are distinctive and have outfits that suit their personalities. They're also all named after flowers, by the way. Asagao is Morning Glory, Tsubaki is the camellia and whatnot, and there's a few that I don't know. Maybe Albert can help out. Benny Sumomo, some kind of peach? I don't know.
I could look it up.
No, thanks. But yeah, they're basically a bunch of female ninjas in the middle of nowhere who are told that men are scary and horrible and they smell bad. And I think they're all being trained to fight against men, but that's not really clear as to where the separation of the genders started and whatnot. But again, I tend to take things way more seriously than they should be taken, so I'm just trying to roll with it and laugh at the funny ninja hijinks. Though I will say, for me, the strong suit of this anime is the music. It has no right being as good as it is, but it is just, so good. What do you think, Tank? You're more musical than I am.
I was just going to say, I take it you haven't seen the newest episode because it probably answers a lot of your questions.
Oh, no. I've watched the first 2 or 3 only. So if there's a new episode that just dropped, I have not seen that one.
I believe there's 4 episodes right now.
Okay, so I must have seen the first 3 then.
Yeah, but the newest episode gives us quite a bit of information. So if you're a 3-episode type of person, you're missing the big thing in the 4th one. So if you kind of want more information, you might want to hit that 4th one. But
right.
Other than that, yeah, just really fun and just enjoyable show. Like, I'll admit, at first I'm like, not these I don't want to say that word, but I guess it's the word that everyone recognizes, lolly characters for this. And of course I have a few friends that are really into those type of designs, but I mean, it's not done in a distasteful way. The characters are cute and are presentable, but it's really fun just to see how these characters and their personalities shine through as you meet most of the other teammates and everything. But I don't know if you noticed this, but the one thing I noticed was surprising is that every single ending is different.
Yes, I noticed that too. They tend to focus on one of the 3-man cells, or 3 women cells, I guess. And I believe that the voice actresses sing the ending song.
Yeah, that's what it seemed to me. Like the voice actresses for that particular team were singing the songs.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just really cute and lighthearted, and that's what I need in my anime right now. So it's why I was drawn to it and why I will keep watching.
Yeah, and as it's talking about ninja stuff, it's not like over the top like I would say Naruto and its weird jutsus, but it does have some of those low-key jutsus that are displayed. You know, like the substitution or even cloning. I think, right? So,
Yeah, it's basically all of the ninja mythology that you've seen replicated in other anime is the level of skill that we're seeing. So the fireball and the hiding, the
I don't
sneakiness,
know. We're
like Tank
kind of
said, the
started late, but we're
cloning
just
and
seeing we're
smoke bombs
here.
to
I'll show you.
escape,
This
stuff
is where
like
we're on
that.
our list right here. We have all these titles here still, but I think we might ask them if they want to leave it for next week.
We'll get some dinner.
My view on it is, it's definitely something I wouldn't watch by myself. Like, I'm watching it with friends, which makes me
Can you get something out of here?
like watch it. But like, it's pretty good in its story. Like, I wasn't sure what the go was with why they're like saying be wary of men, be afraid, you know, all that. But just like Tank says, if you continue watching the episodes, they definitely do clarify that, and I think they clarified it in a really good way. And it makes you question what's gonna happen with like how this information has been shared. So for me, it's not bad. Like, it's like I said, definitely not something I'd watch by myself, but it's good.
So real quick question: we're about to hit the 2 hour mark. Do you guys want to leave the rest for next week, or?
I have to go, so I won't be able to continue the discussion. But I only saw 2 other episodes or 2 other series, so if you guys want to keep talking, that's fine.
What about you, Vinnie and Albert? Do you guys want to stop this, or?
I'm good. I'm doing some work, so I will need to get back to it. So next week would be better. Well, actually, wait, next Sunday available? Yeah, I should be available. We go that route. Either way.
All right. And how about you, Vinnie? You think you can join us next week?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm good.
I don't need to ask Neo. He's just gonna be here.
I'm just the tag along.
Yeah. So we'll stop it here. We still got quite a few titles. I mean, these anime seasons are getting longer and longer every single year. I think.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous this year.
So we can continue on next week. I hope you'll join us all next week as we do this. We might actually have one more person. I think we have someone in our chat that's like, I want to talk. I want to be with you guys. But
Do you think Sean will be able to join next week?
I don't know. I haven't heard from him in a while, but we can discuss that. We'll probably send him a message afterwards after this, and then we'll see how things go. But thank you all for joining me.
I'll probably have a look at some of the other like titles that we didn't mention today, and like have a look what they're like. Give a review maybe on that next time.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. So I'd like to say thank you all for watching OreAni. This was the spring lineup. I think we'll have a part 2 coming up next week on Sunday, same time. If you want to join us in our discussion, let me know, and then we'll try to add you into our group to join us. And hopefully you have a little avatar that you can send me an image for so that we can have you sit here at the table with us. If not, I gotta talk to my artist because I forgot. I'm supposed to have like a monolith for guest speakers or guest attendees. But I can't remember where I put that, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. And if you haven't, there's a movie out, I believe, called Tanpopo no Cinephile, or something like that. Theaters.
Yeah.
It was out this past week. I mean, it was a at least for me, it was a G Kids single, event or 2 night show. I don't know if it got a wider release or not, but it's a really good film. I really enjoyed it as a cinephile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so be sure to check that out. And I believe there's a few other movies that may be coming out soon here. So if you join our Discord, some people sometimes put some information about movies coming out. So we'll probably have some information there. Thank you, Jessica, Vinnie, Albert, and Neo for joining me today.
My pleasure.
And